Hey guys, how's it going? Jay here. Just wanted to do a Game Awards episode. So I've got the Game Awards website up here, and I was going to go through each category and just discuss what I think about the nominations, what I think is going to win, and just have a nice conversation about it, really. So these ones at the bottom, the esports one and the content creator, I'm going to leave because I don't know enough about them to comment. And there are some categories up here as well that I will say less about because I don't play those types of games, or there's categories where there are games that I haven't played most of them, so I'll say that as well. But let's just jump straight into it. Let's go into most anticipated game, and then we can work our way up to the top. Straight off the bat, I think I know what's going to win this, and it's GTA 6. I know that, all of these games, obviously that's why they're nominated, are anticipated, but nothing draws the same kind of hype as a GTA 6 does. Ghost of Yotei, Death Stranding 2, Metroid Prime 4 are all platform exclusives as well, or at least timed exclusives. So that obviously brings less draw for them. I know GTA 6 isn't releasing on PC to start, but it's GTA, It's going to be huge. I think this is a no-brainer. Next up, best adaptation. So I haven't seen Tomb Raider, Like a Dragon, or Knuckles, but I haven't actually heard much about Tomb Raider, but these two specifically, I hear aren't very good. From a critic perspective, I think that the two that are going to be considered are Arcane and Fallout. Now, Arcane, it didn't come out this year, so I assume that it's its most recent season. It's very popular. It's very well loved. The art direction is amazing in Arcane, but I think what's going to take it this year is Fallout. Everyone stood still for Fallout when that came out. It was all over my social media. It was all over my feeds. Everyone was talking about it. Even my parents are talking about it. They obviously don't know it comes from a video game, but I think that Fallout is going to win that one hands down. Next up, best multiplayer. So what do you guys think here? Because Call of Duty is the hot stuff right now. Helldivers 2 was the hot stuff when it came out back in February, March, whenever that was. Warhammer Space Marine 2 is very, very popular, but I don't think it's going to be this. The reason why I don't think it's going to be Space Marine 2 is because this is the multiplayer category. Now, if you play with friends, Space Marine 2 is fun, but the actual multiplayer part of that game, if you're going in solo and just into matchmaking lobbies, it's not actually that fun. There's not that many game modes. There's not too much to do. I wasn't as engaged with it as I would be in one of these two. Now, Tekken 8, I think that's going to have a big nod in the fighting category, so I don't think it's going to be considered as much in this one. Super Mario Party Jamboree I'd take out because I don't think enough people have played that. I mean, it's a good family game and it's fun and stuff, but for multiplayer, you're really going to be looking at these two. So what I think it comes down to is basically if it's going to be recency bias or not, basically. Helldivers 2, I'm going to choose to win this one. Just because Call of Duty is a known quantity, I know everyone's saying that this one is so much better, but it's still Call of Duty. Helldivers 2 surprised everyone. Nobody expected it to be as good as it was. So I will pick Helldivers 2 for that one. Next up, sports and racing. I do not play sports or racing games, so I don't care about that. Sorry if you're a fan of those games, but it's not for me. Best sim strategy. So I'm also not into these games, but I have played Unicorn Overlord, and that game is sick. So interestingly, when I was playing this game, I didn't think that it was a sim strategy game, but looking back on it, it obviously is. You're ordering your units, you're composing them into different fighting styles, and you're setting them on the map. So it is, but when I was playing it, I just didn't think it was at all. The other ones here, I don't know anything about. I know people really like Age of Mythology. I know that, or I've heard that Frostpunk 2 is pretty brutal, so maybe that's what the sim and strat heads want. But interestingly, I don't think I know this category is called sim strategy, but I don't think there's a single sim game in here. I think these are all strategy games, aren't they? So it'd be interesting to see who takes this one. I would vote for Unicorn Overlord, but once again, it's the only one I've played, so I can't vote on that one in good faith, shall I say. Best family, so immediately I'd take out Princess Peach Showtime. That game is boring, it's easy, it doesn't hold a candle to these other ones. The Plucky Squire I haven't played, but it didn't drill up that much hype after its release. It kind of fell flat, so I think from a critical perspective, that one's not going to be considered either. I just finished Echoes of Wisdom. I gave it a 7 out of 10. It's fine, but it's not the best family game of the year, especially when you're looking at Mario and Astrobot. So I gave this a 7 out of 10. I think this is less than a 7 out of 10. I haven't played this one. These two, Astrobot and Super Mario Party Jamboree, are both significantly higher than a 7 out of 10. So I think it will go to Astrobot just because Mario Party, like I said earlier with Call of Duty in the last category, it's a known quantity. It's very good, but it's a known quantity. Astrobot has come out of nowhere and it's really, really good. It even rivals, some Mario platform games. So I think it has to get its flowers. And I know it's nominated in the big spot as well, but I think this is the category it's going to win. So best fighting, I don't play fighting games, but a lot of my friends do. And at the very start of this year, January, when Tekken 8 came out, it was all that anyone could talk about that likes those kind of games. They said it was amazing. And now the hype is Dragon Ball Z, or Dragon Ball Sparking Zero rather. So I think it's going to be a toss-up between these two. And once again, it might come down to recency bias. Obviously, Tekken 8 coming out in January, Dragon Ball coming out in October. It's got that benefit. I think, though, if true fighting people or fighting game people are voting on this, it will go to Tekken 8. Best RPG, right, now this is my category because RPGs are mostly the games that I play. So I haven't played Final Fantasy Rebirth, I will say that. I hear it's very, very good. It still has a big chance, obviously. I think it has more of a chance than Yakuza. I love Yakuza, but I think Final Fantasy has more of a chance than that. If I were to pick mine, I gave Dragon's Dogma 2, Shadow of the Erdtree, and Metaphor ReFantazio all a 9.5 out of 10 this year. So we're discussing razor-thin margins for me. I would give it to Metaphor just because, it might be a recency bias thing, but I think that's the best game I've played this year. I love Dragon's Dogma 2. I love the combat, but it had performance issues. Shadow of the Erdtree I loved as well, and I love From Software. Miyazaki's the best at doing it. But once again, it's an expansion of a game I already love, so obviously I'm going to love it. I would give this one to Metaphor. This is a tough category though. Look at all 5 of these games are absolutely fantastic. So that's going to be a difficult one to vote on for sure. Action and adventure. Now, I, straight off the bat, I'm going to give this to Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, because this game deserves more recognition. This game is amazing. It's so good. And it came out right at the start of the year, so people might have missed it, they might have forgotten about it, or they might not have just checked it out because everyone kind of hates Ubisoft. But this game is so good. If you haven't played it, check it out. Everything else here is great. I haven't played Silent Hill 2, but I hear it's very good. Remake of the original and true to the original. Astrobot's amazing. Star Wars Outlaws is amazing. Legends of Zelda is fine. But I give my nod to Prince of Persia here. Best action game. Now this one's absolutely stacked as well. I haven't played Cellblade or Wukong. I am planning to play Wukong. It's on my list. There's just so many games right now. Cellblade's not really my thing, but I think this is another stacked category. I would personally give it to Warhammer. It's action game, right? There is no bigger action than this game. The dialogue in it, the chainsaws, everything just exploding around you. It's so fun. And it defines action. It takes me back to, the sort of 360 PS3 days where everything was like that, the hoorah and, just crushing everything in your path. It's really, really fun. So I'm going to give it to that. I know every game in this category is massively popular, so anything stands a chance, but I'm going to give it to Warhammer. So, best VR AR. Nobody cares about VR, so moving on. Best mobile game. So, this is great because TCG Pocket has taken over my life. When I'm obviously not gaming or working, I mean like gaming on console, that is. I am playing this game on my phone. It is so good. And it has kind of like Pokemon Go, like broken those boundaries into non-gamers, because my girlfriend's even playing it and she never plays Pokemon. So I think this one hands down takes it. Balatro obviously is great, but it has its nod in other categories and it didn't start on mobile, so I don't think it's going to be considered too much here. And then Zenless Zone Zero and Wuthering Waves, they're all the same. Genshin Impact, Gotcha Mechanics, blah, blah, blah. They're popular, but I don't think anything's going to stop TCG Pocket winning that one. It's so good. Best debut indie. So this one is going to be Balatro, and I think the other indie one, which is the one that's after it, is also going to be Balatro. Not saying that any of these games are bad. They're all very, very good. Never UFO 50, Animal Well. Fantastic games, at least critically received. I haven't played Animal Well yet, but I'm going to. It's on my list. Lorelei and the Laser Eyes is a puzzle game. It's got positive reviews. I can't do puzzle games, so I played The Case of the Golden Idol last week to get ready for Rise of the Golden Idol because everyone talks so highly of that game, so I wanted to check it out. I loved it to start, how clever it makes you feel, but as it gets really complicated towards the end, I just got really frustrated. When I can't figure something out, it's just not enjoyable for me, so I don't think I'll give Lorelei and the Laser Eyes a go because I think it's supposed to be really difficult. But once again, I think Balatro is going to take this one hands down. Right, next up we have Best Community Support. I don't care. Sorry, moving on. Best Ongoing. I played Diablo, Vessel of Hatred, and the new season. They were great, but when people think of like an ongoing game, I think they're going to tip their hat more towards Destiny 2 or Helldivers 2, simply because, they've got massive player bases, way bigger than Diablo 4. Fortnite obviously is massive, but I don't think the people that would play Fortnite are the ones that are going to be voting on this. So I would say Destiny 2 or Helldivers 2, and I'll say Helldivers 2, just because nobody really likes Bungie at the moment. Games for Impact. So I love Life is Strange. As you know, if you follow my content, I didn't love this game, so I wouldn't vote for this one. But outside of this, I think it has to be Hellblade 2 or Tales of Kenzera. And I'm going to give it to Tales of Kenzera just because, Surgeon Studios' first game, original IP, it tells a really, really lovely story of a boy and his losing his father, and it's a story of grief and overcoming that grief, and it's really beautiful. You should check it out. So I'm going to give it to Zhao on that one. Innovation and accessibility. Now, I can't comment on this because I don't have a disability and I don't really look at accessibility features, but I love to see that this stuff exists, so really happy to see it there, but I can't comment on those features. Best performance. Hannah Tell, I love. She's amazing. Her representation of Max in Double Exposure is incredible. Absolutely incredible. But when you look at what this category is, it says best performance, right? If it was just voice acting, I would give it to Hannah. But because it's a performance, and it even says here, motion and or performance capture, I think it's got to go to Melina, because the stuff that Senua goes through in Hellblade 2 and the sort of mocap that Melina had to do for this game, it's incredible. Check it out. It's amazing. She deserves a win on this one. Best audio design. Once again, I've got to give it to Hellblade 2. If you saw the Dev Direct that Xbox hosted at the start of this year, where Ninja Theory came on and sort of did an overview of the audio tech that they used in Hellblade 2, it's mind-blowing. The spatial 3D audio that they've used is really, really good. I would not recommend playing this game without headphones. You have to play it with headphones. It's essential. And it's really, really incredible. So that takes my nod. Best score in music, Metaphor. Don't even have to look at the others. If you read this category to me without any of the nominations, I'd pick Metaphor. The soundtrack is phenomenal. It's so, so good. You must have all heard the combat theme that was doing the rounds online, but the rest of the soundtrack is great as well. It's a all-timer. It's so good. So best art direction next. Best art direction is tough for me because Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree and From Software and Miyazaki's art direction in general, I think is the best, or some of the best of all time. But when you have a game like Metaphor, where you pause it and it makes your jaw drop because the menus look so good, yeah, it's got to go to that. What game does that? What game do you hit the pause menu and your mind is blown by how amazing it looks? So once again, it's got to be Metaphor for me in best art direction. Best narrative, Metaphor. I have a whole spoiler cast about it if you want to go check that out, but it is the messaging and themes in Metaphor are told so, so well that they really make you reflect on yourself and on our real world. I think the narrative is amazing. Check it out. Best game direction. All right, we're in the big bucks now. For me, it's probably got to be Metaphor or Balatro. Because Metaphor, I mean, I've given it so many accolades so far this video, but Balatro is one person. One person has created this game that has such an addictive gameplay loop, and it works so well. It works so well that it keeps bringing you back, and it makes you want to be experimental, and it's very creative, and that is phenomenal game direction. And it's just one guy. So I think Balatro should get a nod here, but I think Metaphor will win it. Now, the big one, Game of the Year. So first of all, what do you guys actually think about these nominations? Let me know below, because I know that the inclusion of Shadow of the Erdtree has got a bee in a lot of people's bonnets because it's a DLC. I'm in the park that I think it does belong here, and I would have put it here if I was choosing these. I love Shadow of the Erdtree. It's incredible. I think, though, that if it's not going to be Balatro, because I think Balatro should get its recognition, but I think it will get it in the independent categories. I think what should get Game of the Year should be Metaphor or Astrobot. What those two games have done is they've taken whole player bases who might not have even particularly liked those kind of games, Astrobot with platformers and Metaphor with turn-based RPGs, and they've made people love them. Astrobot came out of nowhere. Nobody expected that coming, and it is incredible. It's seamless. And Metaphor, people who don't like JRPGs won't have paid attention to it, but then when the hype came out around it, loads of people jumped in, and it might have been their first ever JRPG, and it's just taken the world by storm. So I think it will go to one of these two. I personally would pick Metaphor, but Astrobot has a good chance as well. And that's it. So let me know what you guys think below and what different wins you think are going to be across the categories, what you would have put in instead, if you think there's anything missing from the Game of the Year nominations. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you like the content, and I'll see you next time. Peace and love.